Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, a solo reaction to the Bears' big 31-14 win over the Cowboys in Week 3. If you're enjoying this content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. Any way you engage with the channel, whether it's leaving that comment, showing it to a friend, or actually subscribing, which is probably the best thing that you can do. We appreciate it a lot as we're chasing down 25,000 subscribers. We're getting close. We're getting a lot closer, and the NFC North, definitely with a crazy day today. The Vikings, 48-10 over the Bengals. I thought we were going to win with Carson Wentz because that's just what the Vikings do. Did not see 48 points coming. Isaiah Rodgers had arguably the best half I've ever seen a defender have in my life. 2 touchdowns, 2 forced fumbles, recovered one of them, returned it all the way. Just unbelievable. And the Packers, just a shocking collapse at the end. There's a good performance from the Cleveland defense, but up 10 late against the Browns. That's one. I know a lot of Packers fans who listen to this were upset, and you want to see them put that game away. It happens. I really don't feel too differently about Green Bay. There are a couple things that could be concerning. It happens. It's the National Football League. You should have won the game. You had a blocked kick. There were 3 blocked kicks, all back to back. It seemed it's just a weird day of football. You bounce back next week, and you get this Cowboy team that, at this point in time, is reeling now. And we'll see how long CeeDee Lamb is hurt for. I don't know if that's going to be a multi-week injury or not, but the Cowboys seem to be a good bounce-back team for people right now. And, the story of the day here in the Chicago game to me is Caleb Williams. Now he bounced back, how he responded. The Bears were under more pressure to me than any team in the league to get a win in Week 3. Think about the way they lost to the Vikings, right? J.J. McCarthy's played 8 quarters of football. They've been pretty bad for 7 of them, but you allowed that one really good quarter. In the fourth quarter, when it mattered most, you lose that game that you should have won. Everyone saw it on national television. Soldier Field is rocking. Next thing you know, they're silent. Caleb looks way worse than he did on the opening drive throughout the remainder of the game. Questions start rising up. You lose to a division opponent. All right, let's go into Detroit. Let's try and bounce back here. Get a big win, right? Well, they hang 52 on you, and you lose by 30. Ben Johnson starting to be called into question a little bit. The demeanor of the team is down. This is not how it was supposed to go with Ben coming into town. Well, today it looked a lot better, didn't it? Well, today it looked like everything you were hoping for, and it started off early with the 35-yard touchdown to Roma Dunze. Then next drive for Chicago, 1 play, 65 yards, probably the play of the day. The flea flicker where DeAndre Swift launched the ball 10 feet up in the air back to Caleb. Sort of a dangerous looking play, but Caleb gets it, throws it 62 yards in the air. If you haven't seen it, just an unbelievable throw to Luther Burden III, their electrifying rookie, who I think is going to continue to get better and better. And he goes into the end zone early. I believe at the time that made it 14-3 early on. And Chicago just got off to this hot start. But to me, the most promising play of the day, if I were a Bears fan, came at the end of the third quarter. It's 24-14. Game is pretty much in your favor right now, but you're looking to put it away. 4th and goal from the 4-yard line. Ben Johnson, a la Dan Campbell, goes, you know what? Screw this. We're ending it right now. Right? 27-14, still a 2-possession game. We're going to put this thing in the end zone right now. Caleb, I trust you to do it. Caleb gets a little pressure, rolls out, fires a strike to the back of the end zone. DJ Moore's wide open. 31-14, game's basically over. And that, to me, that was a big boost of confidence, not just for Caleb, but really just anyone associated with the Bears, any Bears fan. Ben Johnson saying, I trust you to go and make a play here. I got to think that that's something that resonates with Caleb Williams big time moving forward. And, to trust your guy to make that play. And 24-14, 10-point game. Like, they go down, get a field goal. I know it's 96 yards away, but Aubrey's got a hell of a leg. If the Cowboys cut that thing to a 1-score lead or touchdown game, things change. And I just thought that was a great play from Caleb. Obviously, DJ Moore was wide open, but really what it showed in the trust of Ben Johnson and his young quarterback, who, there's been a lot of questions about Caleb Williams, right? And he's an emotional guy. He really wears him on his sleeves. People wonder how mentally tough he is. You see him in practice throwing fits when he's missing targets, and sometimes it gets out of hand, right? And that happens. But today was a big day for Ben Johnson and Caleb. A pairing that has super high expectations to get back on track here. They needed a win bad, and they got one. And one thing that I'd also be pretty pumped about if I'm a Bears fan, think about the plays I'm talking about, right? Notice on every touchdown, Dunze, one of them. Luther Burden, one of them. DJ Moore, one of them. Spreading the ball around. Obviously, Burden had a big day, 101 yards, but everyone got involved. And that Loveland got involved. DeAndre Swift was involved on the ground and in the air. This is what you were expecting with Ben Johnson, right? The creativity, the flea flickers, the excitement. And it's something that Chicago's just been missing for a long time, and the potential was really on display. I mean, this is probably the best game of Caleb's career. You could look back to the Jaguar game in London last season. He had 4 touchdowns. He did that again today. Went for about 300 yards, 4 TDs, sacked 0 times, hit just once. That was another big thing this offseason was the Bears focused so much on improving that interior of the offensive line. Caleb has had trouble in the past holding on a little too long. Sometimes he's running around trying to make a play, and we joke around with Jack a lot on the show. This isn't some Pac-12. This isn't some Pac-12 late night game where you run around against name a random school and you can make a play out of thin air. This is the NFL, and we've seen Caleb so many times. He sacked 68 times last year. Take a huge sack where it puts them out of field goal range or it kills a drive. You didn't see that today. You saw a lot of the growth that you were promised, a lot of the growth that you were hoping for from your young quarterback, and it's just ridiculous the amount of overreacting in football. Where 2 weeks ago or a week ago, everyone's saying, all right, could Caleb not start next year if this continues? And yeah, it's fair to question if this continues down the road. But, it's just one game later, and we're saying, well, that's exactly what we wanted to see. And, man, the Bears, maybe they could get something going here. All of a sudden, you look at that schedule where we ran through it with Andy Herman, and you're saying, where do you see 5 wins? Really, where do you see it for the Bears? Now you look at the next 5 games. At the Raiders, at the Commanders, versus the Saints, at the Ravens, at the Bengals. You're getting at least one backup quarterback in Jake Browning there. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Jay and Daniels. You're hoping that's probably 3 wins. And if you get 3 wins there, you're 4-4. I mean, maybe, if you pull off 4 wins, you're going to be 5. You're going to be 5-3. And the NFC North, I think, is still one of the best divisions in football, but you're in contention there. And it's just amazing how quickly everybody's opinions can change. The Packers lose today, and we have people in the comment section saying, season's over. We're not the contender we thought we were. The Vikings after week 2, obviously I'm not going too crazy with the Carson Wentz needs to prove a lot more, but big win today, you feel so different after a win versus a loss. And I think Bears fans today, you deserve to feel good because that was a great win. And I know the Cowboys haven't gotten off to a great start this year. They're probably going to have a long season, but you beat them, and that's what matters. And their offense had played really well this year. I know CD went down, but still held them to 14 points, a couple big turnovers. You forced Dak to throw 2 interceptions, recover a fumble as well. This was a great win for the Chicago Bears, and I'm actually pretty happy for them too. I know I'm a Viking fan. I'm not supposed to, but our good buddy Weston Dell, who I can't remember if I mentioned or not off the top. But our good buddy Weston, was so excited for the debut of Caleb and Ben Johnson this year and was just so down after the 2 losses. And I think he represented a lot of the Bears fans I know where you should be pumped right now. Go and get a win against the Raiders next week, who are really struggling after they opened the season with the big win. The past 2 weeks have not looked anything like the team that that could be playoff relevant. So go beat them, right? This is where the Bears are right now. You got to beat the teams who are not going to be playoff contenders. That's the first step in separating yourself. Start winning the games you're supposed to win, right? That is the first step in turning into what this needs to be. And the Raiders are one of those teams. So yeah, I'm just looking here at Chicago. 31-14 win over the Dallas Cowboys. Caleb's best performance of his career. A lot to build on here. Speaking of overreacting, I wanted to mention, because in the comments of our video, and you're not supposed to read the comments, and we try and see everyone's comments to get their opinion on what we could do better, what everyone's thinking who listens to the show. Like, yeah, Paul, you're really flip-flopping all over the place. Because I said the Lions might have jumped the Packers in my ranking. Is it so crazy to think that the Lions, after winning by 30 points, could possibly be a little bit better than the Packers? I know they lost week 1. But I don't think it's crazy to say that Detroit maybe just had a rusty game. You're in Green Bay. Their hair's on fire. Micah Parsons, the new addition. I don't think that's insane. And we'll see on Monday Night Football if Baltimore goes in and beats the Lions. If the Lions go in and beat Baltimore, yeah, I'll probably put the Lions above Green Bay. Like, that's just what I'm looking at right here. There's a bad loss for the Packers against the Browns. I still think they're a top 6 team in the league, a Super Bowl contender. But the Cleveland defense showed up today. And they made some plays at the end of the game, and Green Bay didn't put them away. Love had a really bad pick. Like, it happens. Now there's reacting, right, to games, and then there's overreacting. If I were to come out here today and say the Bears are back in Super Bowl contention, they were never in Super Bowl contention to me this year, but some people had them high. If I was like, yeah, this is a Caleb Williams that could win MVP, I have them as Super Bowl contenders. All right, it's a little crazy. If I take the Packers out of my top 10, top 12 because of one loss, yeah, maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction. But you need to react to the week, right? And right now, if you're a Bears fan, things are trending in the right direction. If you're a Packer fan, you want to see a bounce back. And when they beat the Cowboys next week, if they do, then you properly assess that. But we can only assess what's in front of us. And it is a week-to-week sport. So I thought it was a fun week for the NFC North as a whole. Felt a little bit more competitive, right? At one point, it looked like Detroit and Green Bay might run away with it, and they still might. They very well still might. But the Vikings and the Bears get 2 really important wins on their schedule right here. And I'm really excited to see how Chicago responds next week. I just said that at the Raiders, a team that's struggling right now. Are we going to see the turnaround right here? Can Caleb start stringing together good performance after good performance? Ben Johnson starts getting a little bit more comfortable as a head coach. There's something that stuck with me, and I mentioned it a while back, but Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking on his podcast, and Amon-Ra's a Lion, I know, but played with Ben Johnson for a while. And he was just mentioning how going and seeing Ben on the other side of the field was going to be weird. And it's like, we're looking at Ben and we're like, you're not like a head coach. And it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Just in like, all right, do guys not see him in that leadership role? It was a weird comment from Amon-Ra to me for a guy that I'm assuming he likes. And as Ben gets more comfortable, we're going to see, hopefully, if you're a Bears fan, hopefully you're going to continue to see this team button up and be more professional. There's so many, right? Like look at the really well-run organizations in football right now. I'll throw the Vikings in there as one of those teams. Like, these are teams that find ways to win. The Vikings are starting Carson Wentz, and they're getting a big win here. Well, they're really well run with Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah as GM right now. The Ravens are really buttoned up. Obviously, it helps to have Lamar Jackson, but they do things the right way. The 49ers, the backup quarterbacks come in. They usually are winning football games still. Then you see teams like the Jets, who are all over the place. They find ways to lose. You see teams like the Bears, who have typically been all over the place, and they find ways to lose. The hope with Ben Johnson is that he's someone that's coming in. He's no nonsense, right? You're seeing all these offseason reports of him getting on his guys. He's pushing everyone really hard, maybe sometimes too hard. Well, Chicago kind of needs that because it's been ridiculous for a long time there. Can we start to see some strings of wins? Can we start to see this organization start acting like a real professional football team? This is the stretch right here to do it because the schedule gets tougher towards the end of the year. Get these wins right now. Kind of like the Vikings. Vikings have a couple big opportunities. Pittsburgh and the Browns. Got to win those football games if you want to be relevant this year. And the Bears were able to respond today. So congrats to them. Caleb looked just awesome. Yeah, I love this right now. He's running off the field, and he just looks so jacked up. Throwing his wristband into the crowd, and they're going crazy. Like, that's what you want. You need that positive energy. Build it week after week here. Just a huge win for Chicago, and one that if they had lost, man, sky would have been falling. It would have been really bad, and they dominated today. So congrats to Weston. Congrats to all the Bears fans that we know. And, I'm not ready to – I still think that they're going to have a lot of ups and downs this season. I don't think they're a playoff team right now. But this was a step in the right direction. And we'll see. You pull off 3 in a row here. It's the NFL. Things change very quickly. And Bears fans know it very well from last season. You're 4-2, and one Hail Mary later, you lose 10 games in a row. It happens. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Again, you could go check out our Week 3 reaction to all the 1 o'clock games. Went for about an hour. It was a really fun show. And I enjoyed going through it, especially the Viking win. It was great. Go ahead and check that out. And we'll be back tomorrow night reacting to the Lions and the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Just an awesome, awesome game that I can't wait to watch. See you soon.